Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope that everyone out there is doing absolutely fantastic. And that you're all having a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already done so, there is a brand new video every single day on this channel. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Very interesting topic that we're going to have today. It's actually the timing of it I also find quite interesting as well. About 3 or 4 days ago, there was something very similar to this topic that popped up. We were actually talking about Portugal. Portugal, years ago, within the cryptocurrency space, was almost seen as a haven. And not a joke, they were, I believe, the first country to announce openly that basically anyone living within Portugal who was dealing in cryptocurrencies had a 0% tax rate. And that was like, what in the world are you talking about? This was before El Salvador. This was like during the tumultuous times of figuring out if crypto was actually going to still be a thing in 2018, 2019. That then became this kind of the word's not gold rush, but I remember saying back in the olden days, I was like, these are the countries who are going to benefit the most from this. It's not so much necessarily about having a 0% tax rate. It's just more of and I say it this way. This is from my perspective. If the cryptocurrency market is taking over the world, if crypto is being integrated and pushed into and being used by governments, nations, companies, corporations, you name it, and any facet and any idea that we're talking about, whether it be from Bitcoin to Ethereum to XRP to stable coins to whatever, the money will flow to your borders if you have proper economic policies. And once again, it is not necessarily about having a 0% tax rate. People will also go to you if you have a 2, 3, 4, or 5% tax rate. And this is why a lot of the news that we've gotten in the last couple of, I want to say months, maybe couple of years, has been interesting. Another new country 2 weeks ago announced that they were completely banning crypto and any transactions and any of this. And I said nicely, I was like, they're not an economic powerhouse in the first place. They're looking for a way to make sure that they don't make any money. So, who's to blame them for wanting to stay the way that they are? A lot of countries have actually, I think you can count like 5 of them who have completely banned crypto over the last couple of years and just don't want it there. But also we're seeing a huge movement in money to certain places around the world where you can do what you want, have the money that you want, and make the money that you want, and also not pay taxes on it. And I will say it this way, just so we can all be completely clear. Taxes pay for an enormous amount of the things that we do on a daily basis. A lot of the services that we use, from policemen to firefighter. I was like, fire stations, firemen, etc., are paid for these through taxes. But a lot of other countries have figured out other ways to make this work. If you have crypto taxes at 0% within your country, one of the weird ideas that people have had before, but now we know this is what happens. The idea was that, these people would simply take the money that they saved from the taxes and they would go back home with it. They would build in other places and they would yada yada. What ends up happening is if someone finds a place where they are more favored heavily tax-wise, they end up spending money within that country, building up that country. For those of you who don't know, apartments, houses, homes also have taxes on them as well. This is the other way to get taxed so that you help out these systems that help out the general public or everyone without having to directly tax the money that someone is actually making. So in this category, these are going to be the places over the next decades that actually end up thriving the most. I said before, jokingly, not jokingly, in a world where you can exist somewhere and someone says, okay, you have to pay 50, 60, 70% taxes, what have you. You know, that airplanes exist, you know, that boats exist, you know, that cars and like people will just simply go somewhere else where they can do their job in crypto. They can work with crypto. They can buy crypto. They can hold crypto and not, It says, as crypto adoption explodes, so does the scrutiny from tax authorities. However, not every country is clamping down. In fact, a few forward-thinking jurisdictions are bucking the trend, offering complete tax freedom on crypto gains. For those of you who do not know, the first one is the Cayman Islands, that which should usually go as no surprise, as many island nations tend to offer better tax rates for people with money than other places. It says if you're seeking a true digital asset tax safe zone, the Cayman Islands should be at the top of your list. This classic offshore financial center imposes no income tax, no capital gains tax, and no corporate tax. And yes, that includes cryptocurrencies. Whether you're trading Bitcoin, holding long-term, or managing a DeFi treasury, your gains stay untouched. For those concerned about regulations, Cayman also delivers the updated Virtual Asset Service Providers Act, or VASP. With fully operational licensing regime since April 2025, gives the country a clear and compliant framework. This means exchanges, custodians, and other platforms can operate legally under standards aligned with global norms. There are not a lot of places that are offering this kind of benefit, but my friend, as I told you before, there are a lot of countries, even if you try to go there as a foreign worker or trying to make a business, crypto business within their borders, they offer exceptional tax rates. It is really weird that other places aren't trying to do this. But I mean, if you didn't, so quick point and then we'll move on. If you didn't hear this years ago, I mentioned this in the video. You can also Google it and find it with ease. You know that in around 1993, 4, 5, and 6, you know that there were a number of countries who were thinking about not even adopting the internet. It sounds like science fiction. It would have been for them. They thought that they didn't need it, or they thought that the internet would just simply not be useful for them or their clients or whatever. There were a number of countries who were literally thinking of not adopting and not using cables to connect with other countries to actually have internet. So imagine if crypto does take off, if Bitcoin goes to $16 million, there are going to be countries on this planet who won't have any crypto, who won't have any Bitcoin, who won't have a reserve, and they'll have to start building up the infrastructure in the year 2046 to try and catch up with everyone. Yeah, I know. Well, just the way that things are, I suppose. Second on the list is the United Arab Emirates. You must have known this one. There's been a gigantic shift. I told you that thousands of times. Dubai is actually one of the first places who announced years ago. They were like, no, like we're going to regulate it. We're going to make sure that everything is, cool. Everyone knows what's going on. Everyone has proper law. And this is when other countries who shan't to be named, not even the US, there were other places who still don't have any kind of regulations. And yeah, this is how you get money to move to you. The United Arab Emirates continues to cement its place as one of the most crypto-friendly countries in 2025, including all 7 Emirates, including Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Individuals pay zero tax on crypto trading, zero tax on staking, zero tax on mining, and zero tax on selling. The staking part is kind of crazy. Most other countries do have clauses that say if you are staking, you'd have to pay some kind of a tax. Zero tax on staking is a literal game changer. Remember, I told you before, all these companies are buying up huge amounts of Bitcoin and huge amounts of Ether and huge amounts of XRP. The first and the third of which you will soon be able to stake all the time to make passive income. When we figure out in the future that the prices right now are extremely low compared to where they're going to be in the next 10 to 15 years, and people are staking their coins for free. You know that money, like the extra money that people make from these things, they push into property. Like it literally only helps the actual country. So, it's a full spectrum crypto tax haven with no personal income tax and no capital gains tax on digital assets. It even goes a bit further. They're talking about regulation. That's absolutely wonderful. I expect nothing less. I told you that years ago. You can usually bet on rich people making sure that more money is going to be flowing into their borders, because that's usually how the rich people end up staying rich. On to the next one. It's El Salvador. Fast forward to 2025. The Central American nation still ranks among the most, it says, radical, Bitcoin tax havens on the planet. Thanks to their digital assets law, there's zero capital gains or income tax on Bitcoin transactions, whether you're trading, holding, or spending it. It's one of the few crypto tax countries in 2025 where that promise still holds, especially for long-term investors. I do think that we are going to hear about other countries who are going to be doing the same. I would say maybe 2 or 3 other countries are probably, I'm not expecting 15 or 20. Even when we get to the point where, for those of you, there are some countries that have like a 52% tax rate on selling crypto. I have a number of friends who lived in certain countries, and they told me outright. They were like, no, like we're moving as soon as humanly possible, literally to anywhere else. So I even think in the future, I think those tax laws won't be changed. I think these countries that have higher tax rates are not going to understand why they're losing money and rich people in their countries. And they will just simply can kind of continue on that way. You would normally assume that it would be logical to lower tax rates or whatever the actual case might be. But that's not how a lot of the world functions. All right. Moving on. Germany. It says Germany may not scream tax haven, but for long-term crypto holders, it's quietly one of the most crypto-friendly countries in 2025. If you hold your Bitcoin or other digital assets for over a year, any sale, any swap, or even everyday use is completely tax-free. That's right. Germany treats long-term, long-held crypto as a private asset and not a speculative one. It's one of the rare crypto tax loopholes countries where holding equals exemption. France tries to do something similar. I told you before, I had property in France years ago. And one of the really weird things, so even look into this as well. There are a number of countries where if you buy property and like you own it and hold it and live in it, when you sell it, there's also a 0% tax on that as well. I know it sounds crazy, but that's how it is. France has something, unless it's changed, I doubt it, where I think you have to hold the property for, I think, 25 or 30 years. And it has a declining tax rate on the actual property. So if you sold it after 1 year, you would pay a random number. You would pay 40%. The next year it would be 38%. The next year would be 36. Is like literally declines as it kind of goes. And I think after a certain period of time, the tax rate would be zero. It's meant to incentivize people to buy and hold so that you don't sell, causing a flimsy market. But this is also why France and Paris has an extremely strong property market. It's because you are incentivized to buy and hold. This is also great for investors because you buy property, you have no intention of selling it, you rent it out, obviously, and then at some point when you want to retire or otherwise or pass it on to your kids, your tax rate zero. So, this is another metamorphosis of it. After 12 months, there's no taxes on it. It says even for short-term trades, if the total of your gains for the year stays under 1,000 euros, you owe nothing. No filing is required. And I mean, even then, that's also like okay, but the majority of crypto investors are usually just buying and holding. The majority of. There's usually not a need to actually have to trade. And most people also aren't good at trading. It's just, if we can be completely honest here. Last on the list is Portugal. This is exactly what we were talking about because I was like, is the law still applicable? We used to hear Portugal was as popular as Metaplanet. You think it's a joke? We would hear about Portugal once or twice a week, all the time, because they were constantly making new laws. I think Portugal also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is it. I think in Portugal, if you're a foreigner and I think if you buy property, I believe you get like a residence permit or something like that. And also, I think if you're a foreigner for the first 10 years, that you live there, there's no tax on foreign income. So let's say you work for Google or something, or you work for a company in Canada or some other country and you move to Portugal. That income that you're making from the other place isn't taxable within Portugal. It's completely insane. Portugal, still a strong contender on any list of countries with zero crypto tax. Portugal offers a unique mix of sun, surf, and tax savings. Okay. For assets held longer than a year, 365 days, crypto capital gains are fully exempt, making it one of the top cryptocurrency tax-free jurisdictions within Europe. They thought about repealing this in 2019, 2020. I remember it being in crypto news, and everyone was like, oh boy. And I said in a video, as nice as I could, I was like, if you do this, they will not come. Like, understand that, like, the reason why rich people move places is because of things like this. If you want money within your country, if you want infrastructure built up, if you want taxes from like people buying property and like property taxes every quarter or wherever, how often people are paying their property taxes, this is how you actually do it. If you got rid of that law, people would literally just move to another country where they're more favored. So I assume Portugal wealth-wise is doing quite well wealth-wise. The appeal is even greater for those who qualified under the non-habitual resident NHR program. Before the 31st of March cutoff under NHR, most foreign source crypto income is tax exempt and domestic income is taxed. Okay. If you make money within the country and you're not from there, your tax rate is 20%. If you make, it must be. If you make it, what do you call it? If you make foreign income, I believe that's also 0% as well. Yeah. Like I said, I do think that we're going to see two more. I don't know which two, but I think some countries are going to have conversations with themselves and be like, no, this is how we get the big money there. And this is why you might have heard, or I've been seeing it. I've been seeing a lot more videos recently about people talking about moving. And I'm certain this is one of the reasons why. So yes, I've had comments years ago about people asking me about moving and things like that. I will tell you from this standpoint. First of all, I was born in the States. I do not live in the States. It is a lot easier to move than you actually think. It's not that difficult at all. People usually ask if there are barriers when buying like properties overseas or somewhere else where they're not. No, the usual barrier is just money. Really, like having the money to buy it. And for those of you who don't know, property outside of the U.S. tends to be a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what you're used to paying. So, yeah, don't be afraid to get out there, have low taxes, and also, live your best life. Yeah, bit of a different video. I saw this list and I was like, I think it's applicable. I think there are definitely some people who are looking for a low or a no tax rate out there. So, yeah, make sure to go out there and live your best life. I do sincerely hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.